I got off the flight, and on the second morning, I went to University of Saskatchewan, meeting a group of people and other researchers in the same team. And I was asked to give a presentation. My English was so terrible. When I spoke, no one understood me. And when other people asked questions, I couldn't understand them. So language is definitely the most challenging barrier at the beginning.
He is Mark Lee. He was born and grown in China. He migrated to Canada. Now he is a successful engineer, project manager, and he is a Toastmasters too. Mark Lee is a positive, always smiling, and a happy person. Hi, Mark Lee. Welcome to our motivational talk. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good. How are you, Madan?
I'm very good. And how your days are going on?
I'm working from home, and I don't really go out unless I have to go to groceries.
Are you facing any problem from coronavirus?
Yeah, definitely there is a lot of changes. Number one, we all work from home. My friends, my Toastmaster friends, we no longer really meet each other in person. Now we are trying everything online now. So, but there is some challenge, and we have to adjust.
Mark, where were you born and how was your childhood days?
I was born in a very small village in northeast of China, close to Mongolia. It was very small, very undeveloped. And the climate is like Saskatchewan in Canada. It's a prairie. Summer is hot, winter is pretty cold, and it's pretty long. A lot of snow.
How was your childhood days? Did you get chance to study in a good school?
No, we have only one school. There are not many options. When I was 6, 7 years old, we all go to farm school in a village, and my dad was one of the teachers working there. We have about 20, 30 teachers from grade 1 to grade 9, and each grade we have about only one class. Each class we have about 15 to 20 students.
You needed to do hard struggle during those days.
No, I didn't struggle at all because there wasn't much work in school. We went to school at 8, we went home at 3 p.m. And my mom was a farmer, and she spent most of the day on the farm. And I just went home and play on the street with my friends.
And when you were a little boy, that time, what you used to dream?
I didn't have any dream until I was about 15 years old.
When did you immigrate to Canada?
I came to Canada in 2007. I came over as a visiting student. I was visiting a professor in University of Saskatchewan.
What made you to come here?
I love research. When I was in university in Shanghai, I studied mechanical engineering. I was a master student at that time. There was an opportunity as a visiting student to Canada. Then I talked to the professor. His name is Chris John. Actually, he worked in University of Saskatchewan, and he liked my research ideas. So he offered me an opportunity to come over to Canada to visit him and his team in University of Saskatchewan. And I was very interested in research at that time. So I took the offer, and who knew that I decided to spend the next 10 years in Canada.
Right now, are you doing business or you are into job?
I'm a project manager for an automation company in Calgary. Our company is one of the largest automation company in the country. I have been working for the same company in the last 5 years.
You were born and grown in China, then you immigrated to Canada. It's really totally a different world. You need to change your language, you need to change lifestyle. So, to adapt in this new environment, what were the challenges you faced in the beginning?
Well, the most difficult barrier that I faced at the beginning was, I still remember that day. I got off the flight, and on the second morning, I went to University of Saskatchewan, meeting a group of people and other researchers in the same team. And I was asked to give a presentation. My English was so terrible. When I spoke, no one understood me. And when other people asked questions, I couldn't understand them. So language is definitely the most challenging barrier at the beginning. However, you can definitely overcome it through practice. And the other barrier is definitely the culture. At the beginning, I didn't really feel the difference in culture. People from Saskatchewan are super friendly. They are, in many cases, they are even more friendly than people in China. You know, from the bigger cities of China, like Shanghai. That's where I was studying from. However, gradually, as you immerse yourself in the society, especially after you start working in this new country, you will feel the difference more and more. And sometimes it will be to a point that I was confused. I couldn't figure out. But you know, over the years, eventually you will get to understand and realize, oh, this is how Canadians think, and this is how people are working. You know, because the way people think, the way people work as a team, especially in a team, is quite different from the way people working in China in a team. And that is definitely a hard change for me after I started working in Canada.
You told that you face language problem, but nowadays I see you not only speaking good, but you even give good public speech. How did you overcome that barrier, that problem?
Yes, I remember that when I was in University of Saskatchewan, I was constantly looking for volunteer students who are willing to practice English with me. And that there was a very nice girl who helped me with my English uh, a lot when I was in Saskatchewan. Now she actually lives in China right now. And when I came to Calgary, I took some courses which was recommended by my employer. I took a Dale Carnegie training. That was 8 weeks class. And after that training, I took a volunteer role in Dale Carnegie class. That's another 8 weeks training. And then I joined Toastmasters. Not just one, but you know, 3. And my employer is very supportive, and you know, I have those opportunities and those communities that is helping me to practice. I still remember that when I was attending Dale Carnegie course, I was practicing in the parking lot inside my car for 1 hour during lunch hour, just practice my 2-minute speech for the class. Well, you know, a lot of practice. I'm still taking courses right now. I have a speaking coach who is helping me with my accent. So, I invest in myself, and I do make many, many friends and who are helping me along the way. I think community is powerful. If you want to practice anything, you definitely can practice by yourself. But if you can find a community that you can practice with, that will dramatically improve your skills.
You studied in China, then you came to Canada. While making this transition, how did you update your education?
That's a very good question. My transition was very hard. It was 2 or 3 years transition, and it wasn't very successful. When I was in China, I already finished my master degree, so I came to Canada, to University of Saskatchewan. I registered in a PhD program, but however, that program, as soon as I entered into the program, after a few months, I realized it wasn't for me. It was very theoretical, but I am a very practical. I want to design something that I can see its application in the industry right away. So I know that I'm contributing to the society, but doing PhD was a little too much theoretical for me because I just cannot see the application right away. And then after 2 years in PhD program, eventually I quit from school, and I got a job as an engineer in training in Saskatchewan. I started working as an engineer in training, and that is a major event in my life. And the decision was, I was very close to get my PhD degree, but I decided not to invest my time and energy further in that path because I don't see it's valuable. And until today, I will say if I was a little more mature at that time, I probably will make a different decision. I probably will finish my PhD degree at that time. However, there's no, life is a one-way street. And now I don't regret my decision. My career is going really well.
Besides this, you are involved in so many community activities as well. You are active in Toastmasters. Tell us what really inspires you to involve in those activities.
Yeah, Toastmaster is a really great volunteer organization, and it's a great community for practice speaking skills, which we all need. And I have been involved with Toastmaster community since July or August last year. And the more I get involved in Toastmasters, the more I realize how powerful the community is. I have made so many friends.
You are really humble, positive, and you smile most of the time. And you think positively. How do you develop such kind of attitude?
That's a very good question. 5 years ago, I wasn't like this. I was very easy to be angry. I was very impatient. I'm still not very patient even today. Uh, but I will say I was more negative a few years back. And what changed in life is in 2015, 2016, when economy in Alberta, Canada was, I will say, crashed, right? We were in recession. And that changed my life as well. And through those very difficult years, I started reading more books, started really think about myself, the future, and what matters in my life. As soon as I figure those out, And that's also the time I started my other community activities. I founded Calgary Personal Development, and that's when I started doing time management and other workshop. That's my way to return to the community, to contribute more. And the more I contribute, and the happier I am. And the more I share my experience and knowledge with others, the more I actually learn from others. So I think, I will say, trying to be, a lot of time, it's hard just to ask someone to be more positive. It definitely takes some baby steps and practice. I will say I started not being more positive. I started to try to find ways to contribute more to the society. And over that time, the more you contribute, I will say the happier you are, then you are more positive.
What about your family? Are they still in China or they are living with you now?
My parents are all in China. They came here last summer, 2 summers ago. They have hard time to adjust the lifestyle here. And I have a son living in Calgary. He's 7 years old. He's living with his mom.
Do you communicate with your old friends?
My old friend back home? Yes, I do. I have many friends back in China, Shanghai, Beijing, and other cities in China. We do communicate with online, social media, and we use WeChat.
Now you have become an established, successful person, and there are many friends, family members, or our past friends. They are still doing hard struggle, and they are still not able to achieve, live up to their potentiality. What do you suggest to them?
Well, I cannot say how many of my friends are struggling. I will say maybe I have over maybe 100 high school classmates and university classmates and friends in China. I believe most of them are really successful in their own terms. There is no a single standard to define success. But I will say for a few of them who are struggling, I will say, start contributing more to the society. If you are working for a company, then start contributing more to that company. Contributing more is a challenge, right? So look for the challenge and challenge yourself to be more competitive. And when I say being competitive, it's not really to compete with others. It's more compete with yourself. So make sure, we work on ourselves, we get better, so we are better tomorrow than today. And every day we just take just a tiny bit, improvement, and over time, that change will be significant.
You travel a lot in your life. You're born in a remote part of China, and now you are in a very big city, well developed, getting most of the facilities. If you see your life from your childhood till now, is there any particular moment that changed your life drastically?
There were many, actually. But there was one I still remember. That was when I was at elementary school, and my father took me to the best high school in the city nearby. that was number one high school in the city. Anyone who wanted to go to college, they have to get into that high school. Otherwise, there wasn't a chance. So when I was in elementary school, my father took me to that high school. He gave me a tour. And I was watching students playing on the playground, tennis, basketball, soccer. And I saw a set of those steel high bars. And my father asked me, do you want to try it? And I said something, I was surprised even today by what I said. I said, I would try it after I get into this school. And that was really 3 years before I could even apply for that school. And that event, that promise that I made to my dad, that changed how I studied when I was in elementary school. And later, I was in a junior high, and I worked really hard for 3 years to get into that school because I promised to my dad.
Thank you, Max, for giving time to us and sharing your lots of ideas, how you struggle in your life and what other people can do to become successful and to help community and society. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time to us.
Thank you, Madan, for having me.